Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. I, too, just returned from Japan. I was part of a congressional delegation that spent 3 days in Tokyo and 2 days in Okinawa. And I had spent years there. Many years ago, I was a high school student there. And as I hadn't been back in the interim, I really was struck by the tremendous changes in that country, but also in the relationship we have developed with Japan. Because at the time I lived there, it was really not too long after World War II, and there was certainly an effort to constrain Japan militarily and to yet to reassure it about its being protected. So as we've moved forward, we're in a very different environment, and I appreciate the rationale for it as things have really changed in that part of in the Asia-Pacific area. And Admiral, you referenced the peace and security legislation that Japan just passed. It really authorizes it to engage in a more expansive way in regional security efforts. And one of the questions I had there and posed there was, is money following that? As Japan is as the ties are being loosened on what it can do and cannot do militarily, is funding following that effort so that they absorb a little more of the responsibility, financial responsibility for protecting that part of the world?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I believe it is, but I don't know that for a fact. I know that the government and the Prime Minister have said that funding will follow, that they're going to fund their aspirations to improve their military and their capability. But I will also add that the primary costs of our U.S. forces in Japan are paid for by Japan.
Yes, and what is that amount? I know we were given a figure over there. Do you know off the top of your head?
No, ma'am, but I'll find out before the closed hearing.
I would welcome that.
It's in the hundreds of billions of dollars, but I'll find that out and get back to you on that.
Thank you for that. And the other issue that came up too was sort of encouraging jointness between Japan's security forces and our forces as we are seeking ways to work together. And I'm wondering how you're thinking that through and encouraging that.
And encouraging
jointness, more joint operations between our forces and theirs.
Yeah. So everything we're doing is joint these days in the U.S. side, and I think that other countries are observing that and learning from that. So last fall, we had an SLS, a senior leaders seminar with the Japan Joint Staff, which is their joint headquarters in Tokyo. And we went through some of our war planning and some of our efforts in that arena. So I think Japan recognizes that they need to be more joint within their military than they are, and they're working with us closely to improve their jointness. So I was honored last week to travel to Japan, and I spoke at the 10th anniversary of the Japan Joint Staff. And I've been associated with Japan, their military, for most of my career. And they are far and away further along in jointness today than they have been. That's not to say that they don't have a ways to go. And I think that the jointness between their Air Force and their Navy, for example, it should be improved. I think and I think they recognize that. They are moving toward a greater amphibious capability, and that forces a level of cooperation between their ground self-defense force and their maritime self-defense force. So I'm very optimistic about where Japan is going in terms of jointness and their ability to work with us in a joint manner across our services.
And that's what I felt was really what I was getting at. Is they're working with us as much as they are with them, within the different branches of their services.
That's right.
Thank you. I too will yield back the balance of my time.